Next question is, Fritz, how can you tell if you've gotten to the root cause of your client's problem? Great question. So there are a few ways. I'm going to name three of the biggest ways as to how to tell if you've gotten to the root cause successfully. So number one is through testing. Number two is how our client thinks about their original problem has completely changed from the beginning of our session to the end. And number three, our clients are immediately finding solutions to any setbacks they might have, or they're able to quickly, and it doesn't have to be quickly actually, but they're just able to problem solve with regards to what could happen in the future compared to at the beginning of the session when they felt stuck. So I'm going to go through each one. First one is testing. This method of testing isn't really talked about much in a lot of hypnosis modalities. In my traditional training, I didn't even know what testing was, but it completely makes sense to test, right? So usually at the end of our sessions, we would test our clients to see if the problem still exists, really. So it could be situational. For example, we were helping our clients with emotional eating, and we test them because they told us that usually if they have a stressful day at work, they buy ice cream. So a situational testing question would be something along the lines of, okay, so you go to work tomorrow and you have had an extremely stressful day. Are you going to grab that ice cream? Right? See what they say. That's a basic situational question. And then an emotional testing question would be around something similar. So what would you do then if you're so stressed out at work? What would you do to help you with your stress levels instead? And based on that, that actually helps us to see as well if the problem still exists, if they can problem solve, which actually, hits the third point as well, where if they can problem solve that, if they can think of ways as to how they would cope moving forward when that challenge starts to come up in their lives, because it will, then we know that we have gotten to the root cause of the problem, and they won't have the same problem in the same manner as they used to have before coming to us. So definitely testing. And number two, how they think of the problem is different. Literally, in our conversational hypnosis sessions, we know that our sessions are done and worked because when we ask the clients at the end, so how do you feel about the problem, or what do you think about the problem? And they go, what problem? What problem are you talking about? There's no problem. Like, that is a great way and a great telltale sign that you've gotten to the cause. So how they think of the problem, or say, let's use the same emotional eating example. And we talk to them about, okay, so how do you think, what's going to happen if you do decide to eat emotionally? If you get too stressed out at one point, what are you going to do then? And they say, you know what, like, I'm okay with emotionally eating once in a while, as long as I get back up and start eating healthier as soon as I can. And whereas before they were so consumed about the problem, and they were like, oh my God, I'm such a failure because I emotionally eat. Like, going from that to being solution oriented and a lot of neutrality emotionally is a great sign that we've gotten to the root cause. And number three is the ability for them to problem solve and find solutions. So this really ties hand in hand with number one with testing. This is where we get to really see how their process is, right? When they're thinking of the different ways and they're pretty much proving to themselves that their problem has gone. And this is really one of my favorites, where, we test and then they say, yeah, I'm no longer going to emotionally eat. Like, why would I damage my body like that? Blah, 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 blah. And then they say that and they convince themselves that the problem is no longer gone because their thinking about it has changed, and they're able to adapt more and become resilient and find other new coping mechanisms to help them move forward instead of go back to those old patterns of what they learned, how emotional eating relieves whatever it is that they want to relieve themselves with, right? So those are the 3 signs. I hope that helped. If you have any questions at all, let me know. I will see you soon.